As you take your seats, if you have not gotten an interpretation headset, please head to the table outside of the doors so that you can have interpretation. You will need an ID in order to have your headset given to you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Please take your seats. My name is Stacy Rajal, and I am the director of the NOAA Research International Activities Office. I will be your MC today. We are so pleased to have you all join us. But before we get started with the program, I have a few logistical announcements to make. First, you all should have received your headset for interpretation at the table outside. If you have not, please feel free to go to that table and receive a headset. Second, I would like to remind everyone that it is the rule of the National Academies of Science that we do not have food or drink in this auditorium other than water. So we ask that if you have to eat or drink, please do so in the Grand Hall where you had breakfast. I also would like to give you information on the ever-important Wi-Fi connection information. There is no password. Please connect to the visitor account, accept the agreement, and you should be able to connect. If there is an issue with that, please try to find me or one of my team members at the break, and we'll help troubleshoot for you. Last, I would like to remind everyone that there are other meetings going on at the same time as our meeting today, so we ask that you stay in this auditorium, in the Grand Hall where we had breakfast, and in the rooms immediately adjacent to those. Please do not go up and down steps or other things like that, or we might disturb those other scientists who are having their meetings. Without any further ado, I would like to move on to our opening remarks. We are very pleased to have with us Brenda Mallory. Brenda Mallory was confirmed by the United States Senate on April 14th, 2021, and was sworn in as the 12th chair of the Council of Environmental Quality, or CEQ. She is the first African American to serve in this position. As chair, she advises the president on environmental and natural resources policies that improve, preserve, and protect public health and the environment for America's communities. She is focused particularly on addressing the environmental justice and climate change challenges the nation faces while advancing opportunities for job growth and economic development. We are very pleased to have her this morning to give our opening remarks. Chair Mallory, could you please come forward?
Good morning, everyone. Such an honor to be here. I keep saying that we're having more and more occasions where there's an opportunity to actually be in person, and I can't say how much I really enjoy that experience, and in particular for an occasion like this. I have said, and you'll hear me when I go through my actual remarks, that I am not a person who has spent the bulk of my career in the ocean world, but it's increasingly a part of my agenda, and I'm just so grateful to have a chance to learn from all of the experts that are in this room, and particularly when we're talking about research. So thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate being able to be with you. So good morning, Your Excellencies and distinguished guests. And good morning to all of our online participants who are tuned in from all over the world. It is my pleasure to welcome you in person and virtually to Washington, D.C. For part 2 of the 2022 All-Atlantic Ocean Research Alliance Forum. I'm joined here today by a number of my Biden-Harris administration colleagues, including NOAA Administrator Dr. Rick Spinrad, and State Department's Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary Jennifer Littlejohn. I know they will join me in extending my thanks to the National Academy of Sciences for hosting our gathering this week. I also want to say that it is an honor to stand beside Brazilian colleagues today, as this has truly been a partnership in hosting this year's forum events. I want to extend my appreciation to Secretary Morales for all the work that you and your team did to pull together this important event. We gather today for this ministerial on the strong foundation by the scientific event held just over a month ago in Brazil. This week, we will continue the spirit of optimism, innovation, and opportunity to commit to strong ocean research partnerships across the Atlantic. This event and this alliance are intended to ignite scientific collaboration across the Atlantic basin that will help us address our collective challenges. We all share a vision of a healthy Atlantic Ocean that supports our communities, our planet, and we have the power to commit to a more sustainable and climate-ready future. This week, we will share our commitments to ocean research through the signing of the All-Atlantic Ocean Research and Innovation Alliance Declaration, and through remarks from government officials from throughout the Atlantic Basin. So let me start by saying what we are doing in the Biden-Harris administration. I want to note at the top, and as I referenced earlier, that I have not spent decades steeped in ocean policy the way that many of you have. But I have been around the block long enough to know the challenges and opportunities we face in this area. And my current role provides a regular platform to delve into the big ocean issues of our time. In fact, I was just recently returned from Lisbon, Portugal, where I was part of the US delegation to the UN Ocean Conference. What is clear is how connected the ocean is to so many of our challenges that we are facing today, from climate change to equity to the economy. Many of the initiatives that we are leading at the White House Council on Environmental Quality are having direct impacts on our ocean and are integral to achieving our shared ocean goals. Those initiatives include America the Beautiful, where we are working to conserve at least 30% of US lands and waters by 2030. It also includes our Indigenous Knowledge Initiative, which is a recognition of indigenous knowledge as a form of knowledge that can and should inform decision-making by the federal government, including on ocean policy. Along with the Office of Science and Technology Policy, CEQ co-chairs the Ocean Policy Committee, which is the federal government's primary interagency body coordinating ocean science, technology, and management policy. Nearly all of the work we are doing in the Ocean Policy Committee touches on the topics you will be discussing during this conference, such as sustainability, managing multiple uses of the ocean, and ocean exploration and characterization. In 2021, the United States joined the high-level panel for a sustainable ocean economy, making the United States one of 17 nations, including some who are represented here today, who have committed to sustainably manage 100% of the ocean area under national jurisdiction. Developing and implementing those plans will require knowledge, action, and partnerships that extend beyond our national boundaries. So I'm excited that we have the opportunity to tackle these challenges by working with our partners across the Atlantic Basin, and I believe that we have an opportunity to make significant progress during our meeting this week. As we shape our ideas for future collaboration, I ask each of you to think creatively about how we can keep diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility, and environmental justice in the forefront of what we do. This is critical at every step, from how we design our scientific studies, to disseminating the data from the science, to working with impacted communities as we develop and implement policies. This is something the Biden-Harris administration has prioritized through our work on environmental justice, which is grounded in the belief that all communities should have the benefits of clean air, clean water, and healthy surroundings where they live, work, play, learn, and grow. We are committed to bringing that same focus to the work of this alliance, and it is up to us as a group to harness our diversity of knowledge, creativity, and innovation to achieve our goals. So let me end where I started. Thank you all again for participating this week and for being a part of the Alliance of the Future. I'm excited to hear what comes out of this meeting. So thanks so much for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Chair Mallory, for those remarks, and a great welcome indeed. As we've mentioned before, this event is co-hosted between the United States and Brazil, so we wanted to also make sure that we heard from our Brazilian colleagues. So I would like to invite Dr. Marcelo Morales, Secretary of Research and Scientific Formation from the Ministry of Science, Technology, Innovation, and Communications in Brazil to give additional opening remarks at this time. Thank you.
Good morning. As a scientist, it's an emotional day for me. And we are doing something very big, and we know about that. And dear delegates, Ms. Brenda, thank you so much to host us here. I would like to welcome to the Ministry implementation of Declaration of the Belém and Declaration of Galway. We now look forward to the declaration of the All-Atlantic Ocean Research and Innovation Alliance to be signed today. It ties together the South and North Atlantic, including Galway and Belém partners. Actually, it's 5 years since we signed the Belém Statement. This is a step, this was a very important step. And I believe that in the next 2 days, we are doing more than that. We are starting a process that, if succeed, has the potential to truly change paradigms. We are all aware that the sea is the essential element of life, which is present in formation of this planet. Nobody is indifferent to the sea, but even so, the oceanic culture of the society has not yet been enough to change the attitude of predatory exploration of this resource. Allow me to add a quick personal note. I participated 2 weeks ago of the Decade Alliance event in the second United Nations Ocean Conference. During that event, the United Nations Secretary General Special Envoy for the Ocean said, "We need to apologize to the youth and the damage that we have caused to the future generations." Declining ocean health and global warming threaten the permanence of life and biodiversity on the planet. This was the warming tone of the first day of the United Nations Ocean Conference policy. And the policymakers everywhere are concerned about to find science-based solutions to restore the ocean balance. Today, we have an alarming situation concerning the plastic in the sea. We must seek international alternatives and cooperation to combat this. In debates about solutions, alternatives for mitigating global warming through the capture of carbon by the ocean, the generation of clean renewable energy, and the source adaptation based on nature were also present in Lisbon. The ocean offers the solution for sustainable future. This is the size of the challenge that we face. And this is the major responsibility that we have to improve people's life, to protect our environment, and to make possible the development with equality and sustainability. Dear delegates, I take the opportunity to thank the dedication, effort, and friendliness of the United States team in working with our team in the joint preparation for the event in Brasilia and Washington, D.C. It's a testament to our shared vision to strong linkage of our peoples and, most importantly, our history of collaboration in science and ocean science. To conclude, I would like to express my congratulations to all stakeholders involved in the build such a fruitful cooperation of these years. I'm looking forward to set a new landmark in our common scientific endeavor. Once again, welcome to the ministerial session of the Atlantic Alliance, and I wish you a very, very fruitful event. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Morales, for that wonderful welcome. Next, I would also like to invite some very important participants to the stage. Our youth ambassadors have been a cornerstone of this effort moving forward, and we would like to hear from them today as they discuss their achievements and the significance of youth involvement in Atlantic cooperation and research. I understand there will be a couple of representatives speaking, but that many of you shall come to the stage, so come on up, please.
Good morning, everyone. So before to start, we would like to thank the All Atlantic Ocean Research Alliance and also all the organizers of this forum. So, dear delegates, following the success of the first group of the All Atlantic Ocean Youth Ambassadors, the second cohort is selected from wide a variety of countries, bordering both the North and South Atlantic Ocean. Most recently, including the Arctic region and indigenous peoples. With his continuous effort to diversify the ambassadorship, we are strong representation of the All Atlantic Ocean Research Alliance. So we are 26 young scientists with different backgrounds, different skills, and different disciplines, such as climate change, marine ecology and biology, pollution, aquaculture, oceanography, mathematics, and also ocean policy. We are challenged to campaign and drive change in our own communities by promoting stewardship of the sustainable development of the Atlantic, and also to empower early career ocean youth in the Alliance.
We were invited to design the logo for today's event, the All Atlantic Research Forum 2022. And this gave us the opportunity to create a visual representation of who we are and what we stand for as ambassadors to celebrate our diversity and our togetherness. We were having a lot of online meetings, a lot of brainstorming sessions, and this is a time sequence of the process of going through the designing. We collected our ideas on what this event means to us and also what the Alliance means to us. And two main features struck out, and it also shows how committed we were to engage with each other over such a long distance, because we were all in different places at that time. And two main features really strike out in this whole process, which is the octopus and hands. And it was very important for us that every ambassador feels connected to the logo. And these were the three final versions. And here we got the final version. You can clearly see the two main locations of the event, Brasilia and Washington, D.C. And then we have this big feature of the hands. If you look at the ocean currents, are human hands in this logo. And these ocean currents as hands literally mean we are reaching out to each other. We are connecting, cooperating, and communicating with each other. It symbolizes the connectedness of it all and the unity over the Atlantic basin. If we work together and hold each other's hands, we can foster cooperation in science. The hands give also a human element to this logo because, after all, we need to cooperate. And we have the chance to make a positive impact. It is us together for the ocean. And then we have the octopus. It is below the globe. It is holding up the earth. We're trying to break a stigma. It's a friendly octopus. And it is showing that it's pulling together the continents over the Atlantic basin. The octopus stands for our connection to the ocean, the marine intelligence in this way. It means that our actions matter and that we have a great impact. Furthermore, the 8 arms represent the 6 joint pilot actions as well as the experienced generation in this alliance and the younger generation. So not only do we owe it to the environment to increase our efforts, but also to ourselves and the generations to come.
So the youth of the world have really stepped up, and that is not different for the All Atlantic youth. We are a multidisciplinary and active group of advocates who, through joint action, we have managed to participate in countless national and international meetings. As young ambassadors, we have developed activities across the Atlantic, such as leading conservation efforts, talks on sustainability. We have been moderated in several events, and we have raised our voices in several postcard participations. Just like you can see here. And all of this that you can see, it's just the beginning, can be just the beginning. Our collective vision is to empower communities to become ocean guardians by increasing understanding, appreciation, and active responsibility for the Atlantic Ocean. The All Atlantic Youth Work and Progress has a local and global reach. And we are proud to say that we remain highly active even in time of change like COVID. We managed to overcome adversity and distance to work together and maintain our high spirit as much as ever.
So a big project we have been working on as youth ambassadors is the creation of Blue School booklets entitled Bridging the Ocean to be distributed to the networks of Blue Schools across the Atlantic. This project came about through brainstorming possible ways we could get involved in the All Atlantic Joint Pilot Actions, in this case, the Blue Schools Network. We wanted our project to be able to aid educators in implementing ocean literacy into their curriculums. Our booklets Each cover a different theme that we believe are important subjects to be taught in school and which would give youth a good grasp of why the ocean is important to all from a scientific, emotional, and social perspective. So far, we have fully finalized our first booklet entitled Oceanic Cycles, and we are in the process of our second and third booklets about ocean pollution and solution and food security and society. We also have plans for 2 more booklets after this, one on equations behind the ocean, which will look into the role math plays in understanding our oceans, and another on the types of ocean stewardship, which will highlight how we can all get involved in being ocean advocates more than just from an ocean science perspective. So we already have some of the booklets printed to be distributed throughout the Blue Schools Network, and we have some on display here for you all to have a look at today, and we will have them out in the reception during the break. The booklet series is currently translated into several of the All-Atlantic languages: English, Portuguese, Spanish, and French. We are working on getting them translated into even more languages, such as 5 of the 11 national South African languages, as it is important to overcome and address geographical and language barriers that limit access to information about the oceans. By providing people with familiarity with ocean terminology, how the ocean supports us, and how we in turn can support the ocean, we aim to promote and inspire ocean stewardship globally and in our local communities. We are very excited about this project. On top of this, Bridging the Ocean is open source, so we invite you, as our community, to share it with as many people as possible. It is in a printable format, so when you are called to print a few copies for those in our community who may not have access to online platforms, please do so and deliver it to them. We are a community, and so we must serve one another.
So finally, we would like to share some key messages with the audience today from this incredibly talented group that we have here. So first of all, we as ambassadors were invited because we were motivated, technologically capable, experts in our fields, and we were a driving force of change. And we still are, and we will be. We would benefit greatly from increased access to resources, top-down support, and a real commitment from you, the governments and the project partners. We bring real potential to produce tangible outcomes to build and continue the all-Atlantic community that we want, need, and deserve. Just imagine what we could do together.
Thank you all so much. Yes, go ahead. Thank you all. We're not only happy to have you here with us for this event today, but in all the work that has taken place so far and all the work to come. We hope to continue to actively engage you, and again, we encourage all audience members to take advantage of the resources that the youth ambassadors have developed and engage them in our work moving forward. As we've highlighted a couple of times, this is part 2 of our event. So we had our first part take place in Brasilia earlier this year, the scientific event. I'm hoping that we have Dr. Sofia Cordero somewhere in the audience to give our report, because she is up next. Ah, there you are. Wonderful. So Dr. Cordero is a representative from the scientific event who will present the high-level remarks on the outcomes of the event, and so that we can build on them successfully today. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much for being here today, and thank you for the organizers of this lovely event. Second part of a first one that took place in Brasilia in May and the 1st and 2nd of June 2022. It's really good to see so many faces here today, and I'm sure it will be a great opportunity to engage with each other. So, let me start by telling you the outcomes of the scientific event that took place in Brazil. Before I will set the scene, because there is already a lot going on in this All-Atlantic Ocean cooperation. And for the event in Brazil, we had already collectively developed or organized 6 Aurora working groups, 6 anchor joint pilot actions, 44 Atlantic EU-funded projects are already going on and taking place and developing the solutions that are needed. 32 All-Atlantic pledges, so the community is really engaged in promoting the solutions and cooperating, I would say it's the key for all of this that we are doing, and these pledges are an example of that. 49 All-Atlantic Youth Ambassadors. We had previously here the 26 marvelous young people that are now contributing to the Alliance, but also the first ones, the first cohort, so total of 49 Youth Ambassadors. We have already launched 8 All-Atlantic Talks podcasts. This is extremely important. We have heard not only last week or 2 weeks ago in the United Nations Ocean Conference in Lisbon, the power and the need to communicate well. These podcasts are a good example of that, and more are to come. We have Elisa there that is working hard on that. And 10 All-Atlantic storytelling videos. So we have also called our scientists to send us, to engage with us, learn how to tell their stories in a very nice manner for everyone to understand. And we have these 10 All-Atlantic storytelling videos. All of this cooperation is being developed on the tools, the capacity that is already there in the community. So really what we are not inventing anything new in the Alliance. We are using the capacity that is already there and coordinate all of this. And it's taking place in a variety of networkings and collaborative initiatives. You have here, oh, not yet, sorry. Here, we have newsletters that you can subscribe. We are present in the social media, so Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, Instagram, a myriad of social media networks that you can engage on. And then we have the forums. Today, that it has already started in Brazil, it's the 5th forum. We have been together for 5 times already, and more are to come. So now, the event. The event took place in 3 days. The first 2 were scientific ones, and the last day was a high-level scientific dialogue. So the objective of this event was to support a well-structured dialogue among the ongoing actions and build the necessary interfaces to sustain the long-term cooperation. Of course, to provide inputs for today's meeting and tomorrow's roundtable discussions. So now I will briefly present the results of the scientific workshops. Bear with me, there was a huge number of discussions, so you will see many slides, but really pay the attention to the outcomes, because those are the most important. So the scientific workshop, the aim of it was to dialogue between the different stakeholders, promote an innovative thinking using the best practices and online approaches to share knowledge, create synergies, build consensus, and plan actions to support decision-making in the Atlantic region. The core values of these scientific workshops were the ones of the Alliance: co-design, dialogue, engagement, and best practices. The scientific workshops were divided in scientific priorities. There were workshops on scientific priorities and workshops on cross-cutting aspects. There you have some results on the participation on these workshops. So we had 150 or 200 stakeholders in each of the different types of workshops. The majority, there was a good distribution among Europe, North America and South America. African continent was less represented. It is something that we still need to work on in the Alliance. We have already spotted this issue, and we are continue working with our African partners on this regard. For the cross-cutting aspects, the same. Regarding the participation of the stakeholders in the scientific priorities and cross-cutting aspects, so the last two graphics that you see here, there was really heterogeneous participation in all of these workshops, really showing the importance of all of these themes to the whole community. In terms of the workshops themselves, they were prepared before the experts met in the workshops on 31st May and June 1st. There was the request for online contributions in order these discussions were more effective on those 2 days, because 2 days seems a lot, but in fact they are not. So the experts sent online contributions, the organizing team analyzed them, and then the workshop started to take place. There was an interaction between the experts. The experts indicated where we are, so send us some messages on that. They together dialogued and built a consensus on the next steps for the All-Atlantic community, which are the key messages. In terms of the scientific workshops, we had 7 workshops on scientific thematic priorities. These 7 that you see here: ocean climate, ecosystems, pollution, aquaculture, sustainable and inclusive ocean economy, observing and literacy. Then there were 4 workshops on cross-cutting aspects: data, literacy, data, engage, infra, and capacity. And due to the high participation of Brazilian stakeholders, there were other workshops only composed by Brazilian stakeholders, focusing all these thematic priorities and cross-cutting areas. Now, the messages. So, regarding the aquaculture and fisheries priority, the experts told us that, as we all know, but it's never too late to repeat. Fish stocks are decreasing. We need to reduce bycatch. Fisheries should be less intensive. We need to shift to a low-trophic aquaculture and to a polyculture aquaculture. Improve the interface between academia and decision-making. Develop modeling tools to assess pathogen transmission. Understand on-farm co-infection mitigation, and promote aquaculture, outreach, and ocean literacy. There are many other messages, but these were the ones that I'd like to highlight with you. In terms of the future priorities, we should reinforce a consistent data collection and sharing, including infrastructures and best practices. We need to engage multi-sectoral stakeholders with an emphasis of the youth and local communities. And we have heard the youth in the previous session, and we have heard also a reference to the indigenous communities today. In terms of capacity development, it's important that we facilitate and encourage fisheries and aquaculture science outreach and knowledge transfer to enable education, training, and employment to increase awareness for a broad stakeholder audience. In terms of the ecosystems priority area, where are we? The ecosystem mapping has improved greatly in the recent years, through expeditions, to more samplings, but this is not enough. There are still several gaps that exist, and we need an integration of the disciplines to provide the best data and complete these gaps. In terms of the needs, the stakeholders agree, we need to agree on standardized approaches to ecosystem monitoring, promote mechanisms to strengthen the science policy interface. For example, an Atlantic advisory board to inform and share experiences. We also need to promote ecosystems outreach and ocean literacy. We have heard this also in the previous priority. So message for the future, really the priorities. New generation of stakeholders, citizens, researchers, policymakers, educators, and I would say many others, deserves novel thinking, resources, and tools. Indigenous, traditional, and local knowledge is vital for monitoring, protecting, and restoring, and requires further engagement and inclusion. We have already heard this message today also. We need inclusive, we need diversity in order we reach the solutions that are needed. We also need synergistic articulation among current initiatives and with other fora to avoid duplication, and I think we are on the good track in scope of this alliance, but still a lot needs to be done. We are now, from my perspective, really understanding the need of working together, and these synergies will really boost in the near future. It's also important to recognize the opportunities and pressures of blue economy in the ecosystems. For the observing priority, as for the ecosystem priority, huge advances are being made in ocean observing systems, but again, the ocean is still underdiscovered. There is still a lot that we don't know. Data exists, which is excellent, but it's scarce, and it's not always accessible. This is also something that we are working on this through the Joint Pilot Action AA 2030. We need to increase ocean observations, promote a comprehensive ocean observing system, recognize our responsibility as a global community to obtain data that support environmental solutions. In terms of messages for the future, the stakeholders believe that it's important to promote the Atlantic as a common shared resource, as we have started through the Alliance, and promote capacity building. And we already have one joint pilot action that is promoting capacity building, JPA-AATP. Other messages, comments from this working group, to recognize and incorporate previous data policies. It's very important in order we work as a community. You should also identify and link data repositories across jurisdictions, creating an all-Atlantic data catalog of resources and directory of contacts. In terms of ocean climate priority, where are we? So the experts acknowledge the importance of the All-Atlantic Ocean Research and Innovation Alliance for the achievements and advances in ocean climate research, but are still gaps, and we should narrow these gaps and inequalities by promoting a more inclusive program. Very important, and it has come up in several of these groups. It's that we need to include a human dimension and create a social science interface. In terms of messages for future priorities, we need to improve the All-Atlantic Ocean Observing Network. We have a good example with the Atlantis program, but we need to improve it. And we should also promote other relevant scientific efforts to prepare for future societal and environmental needs and building an understanding of climate phenomena. We also need sustainable funding for data, infrastructure, engagement, and capacity building, following a holistic approach. This idea of sustainable funding is also it's often referred by the experts. Inclusive science, really leave no one behind. An idea that we have been heard, I believe, since 2016, when I was engaged in all these all-Atlantic efforts through international cooperation. In terms of sustainable and inclusive ocean economy priority, So the experts believe that science-based ocean governance is possible and should be encouraged by decision makers. Data and information supporting policy frameworks are available and should be taken advantage of. In terms of the needs, we need to promote a new knowledge-based blue economy and a solid and coherent governance framework that ensures sustainability and environmental protection. We should also better integrate social and environmental aspects into the global indicators. We should go beyond the economic analysis of GDP. We should include the social aspects here. Addressing the underrepresentation of minorities in Atlantic Ocean economy discussions. In terms of future priorities, we need to assess the stakeholder needs and availability of information for co-design and co-implementation. I also think we are on the good track on this, but we need more inclusion, more diversity. We should also promote ocean economy, capacity building, and particularly the delivery of science to policy. And we have here several representatives of governments today, which is very good. We need also to advance the integration of environmental, economic, and social information in evidence-based decision-making. Of course, promote a better connection, and we are here today. We should take advantage of that. Better connection between the scientists of the different disciplines, but among the quadruple helix. We need also to the science to inform a good ocean governance. In terms of the pollution priority, one thing that the experts identify or mention was that lost gear problem is a global challenge. It represents 10% of marine debris by mass. It's quite a lot. Microplastics are, of course, also a major concern. Pollution impacts on life is really not known, and we need to know these impacts. And one thing that I fully agree with, we as society, not the ones that are engaged in all these discussions, but the ones that are not, they have no perception of the impacts of pollution in the environment. Their main understanding is because they see it and it's visually not a good thing, but really the perception of the impact on their lives, I think the society still doesn't understand it, and we need to work on that. So we need to increase the knowledge on pollutants and its impacts, namely microplastics, promote the perception of people of the impacts of pollution in the environment. In terms of messages for future priorities, this was the workshop that really suggested more activities that are more easily for us to tackle. That has built an all-Atlantic Ocean Pollution Coalition. Why not? Build an all-Atlantic Ocean Pollution Network. We still don't have it. And build an all-Atlantic Ocean Pollution Infrastructure, because all these things are connected. So these are good examples on some priorities that we could work on in the near future. In terms of the literacy priority, we have heard at the United Nations Conference in Lisbon that we need to communicate better and literate our society. And here the experts agree. Ocean literacy is considered as a core priority. The Joint Pilot Action's Blue School networks, and we have seen some marvelous booklets that our youth ambassadors brought us and are working with this pilot action. And of course, the youth ambassadors are key to overcome this literacy issue. Ocean literacy has the interconnection of ocean and human dimension. It is really an interdisciplinary tool. We need to sustain funding for ocean literacy. We need also to implement effective communication strategies focused on ocean literacy. In terms of messages for future priorities, we should have representatives of ocean literacy in all working groups, but also have a dedicated ocean literacy working group in order to tackle and coordinate all of these activities. And the JPA Blue Schools Networks is a good example of that. We should also integrate ourselves into science working group in collaboration with the local communities, once again, the local communities, indigenous communities, incorporating and valuing their knowledge. Connect data and infrastructure to social aspects of ocean science was also one of the priorities tackled by the experts. So now, I will let you know the messages on the 4 cross-cutting workshops. In terms of the capacity cross-cutting aspects, the future priorities are data and knowledge need to be accessible, fair, and leveraged to enable capacity building and encourage ocean literacy. We need to promote inclusive quality training, internship, and exchange programs in the All-Atlantic for all stakeholders. Promote inclusion and engagement of trained personnel, particularly ALK and youth, in an all-Atlantic network to narrow current gaps and level the field. In terms of the engage aspects, we need to promote a governance structure for the Atlantic that fosters equitable participation of all states and integrates ocean literacy expertise into other scientific priorities of the community. Ensure equitable participation, inclusiveness, and collaboration to produce science, technology, information, and knowledge. We need also to provide sustained and flexible funding. The word flexible, I think it's very important here. We should be flexible in terms of funding as we are in terms of the broader collaboration in the Atlantic. And this is important for engagement activities and processes according to local realities and demands. Again, other message that I believe is very important. We are all different. We have different culture along and across the Atlantic Ocean, so we really need to take into account the local realities and their demands. In terms of the data aspects, we should create, or it is the experts' message, to create an open access portal to centralize access to information and data, and data policy. As I said, the JPA A8 2030 is a good example of that. Focus the attention of governments to integrate data collection into ocean observation through co-design and partnerships, and to consider bringing about significant change, promoting continuous, sustained, and sufficient long-term funding. The fair, care, and trust principles, open access, equity, inclusiveness, and best practices are key principles to bridge what divides us. In terms of the infrastructure aspects, we should commit to and invest in research and innovation infrastructure to support our sustainable future. Improve and expand an inclusive and equitable all-Atlantic Ocean research infrastructure network. There is already a network being created in scope of the Alliance, the JPA Marinet, and we can and should make it more inclusive and equitable. We need also to consider the expertise, facilities, and regulations to use autonomous platforms such as robots within territorial waters. In terms of the Brazilian workshop, for the scientific priorities, the messages on aquaculture and fisheries is that we need science-based policies in fisheries. For the ecosystems priority, we need to increase data for different ecosystems, biological, physical, and chemical aspects. So really, again, interdisciplinarity and integration. In terms of the ocean climate priority area, we need to stimulate and encourage citizen participation in climate governance. Full pollution, we need to design specific prevention programs, and I would add, specific to the different communities. In terms of the cross-cutting aspect, messages for the future, for capacity, one should implement training programs at different levels. For engage, a greater engagement and participation of society in decision-making is crucial. For the data cross-cutting aspect, gaps in knowledge and data needed in different priorities. I would say here we have a lot of data. We really need to have them only in a single place in order that the data is accessible easily. In terms of the infrastructure, we need to invest in technology, innovation, and very important, human resources. Because without us, the human part of it, the infrastructure will be there and nothing will be done. So this is very important, capacity building and human resources. So, summing up all of these priorities, I would say that there are 3 areas here. We have clearly the human dimension, the need for co-responsibility of co-ownership that we have already created, and a need to strengthen co-implementation and sharing. In terms of the human dimension, leave no one behind. Include social aspects. Promote awareness and literacy. In terms of the co-responsibility and co-ownership, promote equitable participation, inclusiveness, and keep co-designing and keep promoting these partnerships. In fact, partnerships is the basis of all that we are doing in the Atlantic Ocean Research Alliance. And it's one of the SDGs, the SDG 17. That is really at the bottom. It's the last SDG. But it's the most important for everything that we need to do in scope of the Alliance, the UN Ocean Decade for Ocean Sciences, and also the Agenda 2030, and many others strategies. In terms of this last idea, co-implementation and sharing, we need accessibility of data, infrastructures and knowledge, inclusive capacity building, centralization of data, information and knowledge. So we have a lot out there. We just need to know where to look at. Knowledge transfer for solutions, and also sustained and flexible funding. So I will show you the outcomes for the second part of this event in Brazil, the high-level scientific dialogues. And I have chosen here 3 main sessions of this day event, 2nd of June. The first one was very interesting discussions on the youth, between the youth ambassadors and ocean professionals, experienced ocean professionals. So it was the youth ambassadors and cross-generation talks. And then we have 2 high-level sessions celebrating the achievements of the All-Atlantic Ocean Research Alliance, and also a closing session conveying messages for the future of the Alliance. So in terms of the youth ambassadors and cross-generational talks, we had the participation of Siggy Gruber, that is here with us today. Hello, Siggy. And Janice Strott-Duha, that unfortunately couldn't be here today with us, but I'm sure she's watching us through the streaming. They were the 2 experienced ocean professionals that we had in that meeting, and the youth ambassadors. We had Tando, we had Eloise, we had Otman and Gillian. All of them, they were representing the All-Atlantic Ocean Youth Ambassadors. What have they said? Let's go and have a look. So in terms of the experienced ocean professionals, maybe we should change their names. Instead of All-Atlantic Ocean Youth Ambassadors, we should call the All-Atlantic Ocean Youth Advocators. This is much more than being just an ambassador. It's really making action and effective change. There was also a call to sign up the Ocean Bridges program under the ECOP program. And we have Siggy there. If you want to know more about this, please contact her. There was also 2 very interesting quotes that I will share with you. Youth are the bridges for a healthy and productive ocean. So we need you. Passion, never give up. This is something that we learn in life. But here in science, it's even more important. Never give up. In terms now for the youth ambassadors, what have they said? You already shared some of these ideas with us in the previous session. So we need to engage with you, listen you, recognize your voice. And it was very funny yesterday in the Polar Side event when one of our youth ambassadors asked the floor and asked to be seated together with the experienced professionals. And they gave her a seat. It was really nice. They also said that we need to promote social and environmental impact. Again, social here, the social dimension. Promote diversity, better equity, and better inclusion. Othman, sometimes more is not the answer. We need to do better. We also need to build up from each other and learn from each other. And I think the All Atlantic Ocean Youth Ambassadors Program is really a success on this. So, so cross-generation exchange is really important to build the solutions needed by merging experiences among generations. So now summing up the other two sessions, because we will hear a lot about it today. So I will not along myself here. But what really our high-level representatives said to us is that we need co-responsibility, co-property, and co-implementation, but also build on the existing initiatives. There are a lot of initiatives out there, a lot of funding out there. Let's coordinate everything and create bridges among all Atlantic stakeholders. We cannot do it alone. You really need a community, as John Bell said yesterday in the Polar Side event. So I think it's all from my side, and I really hope you enjoy the opportunities for networking among yourselves that we have here in these 2 days. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Cordero, for bringing that report out to us so that we can build upon that work in our discussions over the next couple of days. Next, I would like to introduce our keynote speaker for the event, Dr. Rick Spinrad. Dr. Spinrad was sworn in on June 22nd, 2021 as the Undersecretary of Commerce for Oceans and Atmosphere and serves as the 11th NOAA Administrator. Dr. Spinrad is responsible for the strategic direction and oversight of NOAA and its over 12,000 employees, including developing NOAA's portfolio of products and services to address the climate crisis, enhancing environmental sustainability and fostering economic development, and creating a more just, equitable, diverse, and inclusive NOAA workforce. Most recently, Dr. Spinrad served as Professor of Oceanography and Senior Advisor to the Vice President of Research at Oregon State University, OSU, and he was also Vice President for Research at OSU from 2010 to 2014. Dr. Spinrad served as NOAA's Chief Scientist under President Barack Obama from 2014 until 2016. He also led NOAA's Office of Oceanic and Atmospheric Research, where I sit now, and the National Ocean Service from 2003 to 2010. While at NOAA, Dr. Spinrad co-led the White House committee that developed the nation's first set of ocean research priorities and oversaw the revamping of NOAA's research enterprise, including the development of the agency's scientific integrity policy. Prior to joining NOAA, Dr. Spinrad held leadership positions at the U.S. Office of Naval Research and the Oceanographer of the Navy, where he was awarded the Distinguished Civilian Service Award, the highest award given to the U.S. Navy as a civilian. He has held faculty appointments at OSU, the U.S. Naval Academy, and George Mason University, and served as the Executive Director of the Consortium for Oceanographic Research and Education. He has also developed the National Ocean Sciences Bowl for high school students. And in the international arena, Dr. Spinrad served as the U.S. Permanent Representative to the United Nations Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission from 2005 to 2009. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Spinrad to the stage.
Thank you, Stacy. I really appreciate that overly long introduction. Thank you. Good morning, Your Excellencies and distinguished guests, honored guests, friends who have joined us here today, and good morning and good afternoon and good evening to all of our international guests joining us online. On behalf of the United States of America, the Department of Commerce, and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, I'd like to welcome you all to this All-Atlantic Ocean Research and Innovation Alliance Ministerial Forum. I must tell you that as a card-carrying oceanographer and as the United States Undersecretary for Oceans and Atmosphere, I find I spend far too little time talking about the ocean, so it's a real personal and professional treat for me to be here as well. We are so very pleased to share the honor of co-hosting this forum with our good friends and colleagues in Brazil, who co-hosted the scientific event in Brasilia earlier this year. The United States and NOAA are grateful to the many nations, ministries, departments, and agencies participating in this year's events. We know that travel and gathering during this time can be a challenge, but it is so wonderful to see so many of you here today. Your presence demonstrates the importance and value of the work that we have done and the work we still have to do. And I have an even deeper appreciation after Dr. Cordero's presentation of the work that we both have done and have to do in the future. We may not be able to see all of the ocean from here in DC, but rest assured that we know that the health of the Atlantic Ocean is a vital component of climate action, as well as a thriving economy and prosperous society. My own professional experience has intersected with the Atlantic Ocean on many occasions. The very first research cruise that I engaged in, I was an undergraduate at Johns Hopkins University, and I cast off from Chesapeake Bay and did my research over 50 years ago, I might add, on that part of the Atlantic. My PhD thesis was based on the deep western boundary current in the Atlantic off New England, and then I did some more research with a number of Dutch colleagues off the Congo River in the South Atlantic. So I guess I can claim both a North Atlantic and a South Atlantic merit badge as a card-carrying oceanographer. So I'd like to offer just a few perspectives about the Atlantic Ocean and introduce some of you who may not know the subject of all of our focus here today, get a little bit of a profile of the Atlantic Ocean. The Atlantic covers 20% of the Earth's surface, over 41 million square miles or 65 million square kilometers. It's the home of countless marine flora and fauna, from tiny phytoplankton that make up an impressive bloom each spring to the largest animals on Earth, the blue whales. And in the North Atlantic, where waters sink after being chilled by those cold Arctic temperatures, the global ocean conveyor belt starts, a circulation pattern that helps regulate Earth's climate and impacts our weather, and I would add is one of the key indicators for climate change. So the Atlantic, if you will, is one of the very first places we need to be looking for some of the global impacts of climate change. Some scientists estimate that it takes about 500 years for that conveyor belt to make one trip. About the same time it takes your bags to get on the conveyor belt at the airport these days, it would seem. But we know the Atlantic's more than a fascinating body of water for scientific research and exploration. It serves as an invaluable resource for each of us. It connects us, it feeds us, it serves as the basis of our commerce. As my boss, the Secretary of Commerce, who, oh, by the way, was previously the governor of the ocean state of Rhode Island, she likes to say the ocean is our lifeblood. In the United States alone, 44 million people live along the Atlantic coast, but whether they live on the Atlantic coast or not, the Atlantic touches the lives of every single American, as I know it touches the lives of the communities in your countries as well. And these touch points are even more critical when you consider our changing climate and the opportunities presented by, and I was delighted here to this description, the new blue economy. As I just highlighted, the Atlantic's ocean circulation patterns influence weather and climate globally, but this is just one piece of the ocean-climate nexus that we need to understand. The climate crisis and increased emissions are impacting the health and productivity of the Atlantic and affecting coastal communities globally. At the recent UN Ocean Conference in Lisbon, I had the honor to speak about the impacts of climate change on the ocean, but I also highlighted how we cannot address the climate crisis absent attention to the ocean. The ocean has absorbed heat, and CO2, which all contributes to sea level rise, marine heat waves, coral bleaching, melting of ocean terminating glaciers and ice sheets, and increased ocean acidification. These changes threaten the food security, livelihoods, and economic opportunities of coastal communities and beyond, especially in island nations that rely so heavily on the ocean and marine resources. Through ocean-based solutions, a phrase we need to be pressing upon the public around the world, such as blue carbon systems and offshore renewable energy, the ocean can support both our mitigation and adaptation strategies around the world. A priority of the Biden administration, as you heard from Chair Mallory earlier, is the effort to conserve 30% of our lands and waters by 2030, the America the Beautiful initiative, as we call it. And at the 2022 Our Ocean Conference in Palau, the United States announced a new global ocean conservation pledge, which aims to encourage countries to commit to conserve, protect, or restore at least 30% of waters under their national jurisdiction also by 2030. These are all critical considerations of how we intend to build a climate-ready nation in the United States by 2030. However, climate preparedness doesn't merely stop at our domestic border. We're one global ocean community. Protecting the world's ocean, mitigating, adapting to, and building resilience against climate change necessitates our collective effort. A healthy and resilient Atlantic Ocean also underpins a sustainable ocean economy. We know the profound impact of the ocean economy. Whether they live on the coasts or not, benefits from shipping and maritime commerce to travel and tourism are felt by nearly everyone. The Atlantic Ocean is also a vital source of data and information to support decision-making and climate adaptation strategies, as well as innovative sectors of the economy, what I like to call the new blue economy. So what is this new blue economy? The new blue economy is our capability, as well as our capacity for developing ocean data, information, and knowledge to address societal and environmental challenges. In the new blue economy, the only thing we're taking from the ocean is bits and bytes of information. Through the new blue economy, the production and processing of ocean data, information, and of course, knowledge can be leveraged to ensure that economic production in the oceans is sustainable and even regenerative. I remind my US colleagues and inform my international colleagues that my agency, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, actually sits in the US Department of Commerce. So we have a mandate, a challenge, to look at things like sustainable and environmental stewardship in conjunction with economic development. Increasing public-private partnerships and the diversity of stakeholders that we work with in tackling ocean challenges is critical for the new blue economy to succeed. Here in the US, NOAA, my own agency, is working with the private and nonprofit sectors to grow the new blue economy by becoming a primary provider of authoritative climate and ocean information to support decision-making and building emerging markets for tailored climate information with partners and key stakeholders. Our goal is to stimulate what I believe is potentially a $100 billion public-private climate enterprise for providing tailored products and services for ensuring a sustainable environment for the future. This is the story in the US, and I know that each of you have seen and felt the value and importance of the Atlantic and the traditional blue economy and the new blue economy in your own countries, directly and indirectly. To realize these new blue economy benefits and address the climate crisis and other challenges, it's vital to understand and nourish the health of the Atlantic. It's also important to share information we learn with the people who rely on it so they understand its importance and advocate for its health. At NOAA, we work every day to better understand the Atlantic and its impacts. We take that science and make it operational to inform our work in weather forecasting, addressing the climate crisis, fisheries management, and disaster risk reduction. But we do not do this alone, not at all. Our knowledge and efforts have relied on and will continue to rely on scientific cooperation with partners from all parts of the Atlantic. And that's why the All-Atlantic Ocean Research and Innovation Alliance is essential to NOAA, to the United States, and to the world. Today's ministerial event is an opportunity for us to unite as a community to celebrate our joint achievements and identify new ways to cooperate across the Atlantic Basin. Whether we're discussing opportunities in ocean literacy, pollution, ocean climate science, observations, fisheries, or the ocean economy, we're building on a strong foundation of knowledge and shared values. We're proud of the work that's been achieved so far through the Anchor Joint Pilot Actions, ongoing Galway Initiative working groups, Atlantic pledges, and the associated initiatives like the Belém Agreement. Couldn't be prouder of the work that was just expressed by Dr. Cordero in the summary of what happened last month. The work that's been done to date is truly inspiring. Since the 2000 signing of the Galway Initiative, we've achieved impressive results and identified meaningful collaboration in seabed mapping, marine microbiology, ocean literacy, and ocean observations. For example, between 2015 and 2020, those 5 years, we've surveyed over 1 million square kilometers of the Atlantic seabed. We've also seen an increase in ecosystems-based management, including new tools and integration of the social sciences. And as a scientific-based alliance, we've valued the contributions of the research community coupled with a policy and civil society perspective. We've already started to bring these groups together to support our efforts. Thanks to our co-hosts, the Brazilian government, there was an excellent scientific event held just last month, in person, in Brasilia. This event brought together scientists from across the Atlantic to share their research and ideas on everything from, as we heard, ocean literacy to marine pollution to ocean and climate research. This meeting laid an incredibly strong foundation for our discussions and our agreements here today. As leaders from Atlantic nations, we cannot only prioritize this type of collaborative sharing of data and ideas, but set the example for what inclusive cross-sector science-based collaboration can and should look like. During the forum events this year, we've had and will have the opportunity for policymakers, early career ocean professionals, scientists, and NGO representatives from around the Atlantic to come together and engage in forward-leaning discussions on how we can turn science and policy into action. I'm particularly excited that we've prioritized youth engagement this year. Throughout the ministerial event, we will be joined by representatives from the All-Atlantic Ocean Youth Ambassadors Program who are providing valuable insights on the significance of Atlantic cooperation for early career professionals and future generations. Let me go off script for a moment and say that I take this connection so seriously that I have charged in my agency to establish a formal youth engagement liaison and youth engagement program at NOAA. So watch this space. We really need your advice, your help, your engagement. We can each do more to also actively pursue engagement by and share information with underrepresented, underserved, and marginalized peoples. To fully realize our shared mission, we must integrate diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility into everything we do. Diverse scientific collaboration is a foundation for strong, impactful science and will better position us all to help tackle the climate crisis, provide better science, deliver better services, and be better stewards of the environment and the economy. We recognize the diversity of contributions that partners throughout the Atlantic bring to this alliance, and we welcome and celebrate additional perspectives at the table. This means that we in this room, literally and figuratively, are only the start of the alliance efforts to come. Everyone and every Atlantic nation, regardless of whether they're here with us today and whether they're signing the declaration, is a welcome and valued participant in our efforts moving forward. I started my remarks with some facts and figures about the Atlantic, some of the challenges we face through climate change, and the opportunities I see through the new blue economy. I hope that I'm leaving you with a vision for an inclusive and transparent alliance that supports collaborative and sustainable ocean research. Hope is not a strategy, but I continue to be a climate optimist and ocean optimist. I think being an optimist is being a realist if we address the science that's before us today. I look forward to signing the declaration today and recognize the dedication of all current and future partners. And with that, thank you for your commitment to the work today and to a shared vision for a sustainable, healthy Atlantic Ocean. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Spinrad, for those remarks. It lays a great foundation for the next event at our ministerial today, and that is the presentation and signing of the All-Atlantic Ocean Research and Innovation Declaration. At this time, I would like to ask the representatives who are signing to please stand and come up these stairs and join us on the stage. I also ask representatives of our State Department who hold a copy of the declaration to please come forward at this time. At this time, we'll be citing the declaration one at a time, starting with the European Union. And at the end, we will take a number of photos. So audience members, please bear with us as we go through this process to make sure everything is fully official and we get all of the appropriate photos. I feel like we should have some background music or something like that. We need like an inspirational soundtrack for this. We didn't think through that part of the production. With that signature, we have a declaration. going to now take a series of photographs. If everyone could stand in front of, who's on the stage, stand in front of the banner, and we'll take turns with each signatory holding the declaration. People don't realize that when you get into these positions, that's part of a skill set you have to have, is learning how to smile and pose and do these things on the fly. All right, thank you all. With the successful signing of the declaration, we are now going to move to ministerial interventions. We will be calling up each country for their intervention in alphabetical order. So first, if I could have the representative from Argentina, please come forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to our global audience today. On behalf of the Minister of Science, Technology, and Innovation of the Argentine Republic, Mr. Daniel Filmus, who unfortunately was unable to attend, I would like to thank the organizers for their kind invitation to join this important forum. We in Argentina assign strategic importance to ocean research both at the national and international level. At present, the Argentine Republic is working ceaselessly to implement a strategy that will make research and innovation the drivers of our development. The current prioritization of the scientific, technological, and innovation sector has translated into the adoption of two fundamental legislations. One is the recently approved Science Financing Law, which will raise public investment in science and technology to 1 percentage point of GDP by 2032. The other is the so-called Knowledge Economy Law that will help promote the adoption of new technologies to create quality jobs and also to incorporate more SMEs as providers of knowledge-based services. This boost to Argentine science is guided by the National Plan for Science, Technology and Innovation 2030, which sets priorities and identifies strategic sectors for science in our country. One of these priorities is to strengthen marine scientific research, sovereignty, and the sustainable use of resources in the South Atlantic through the systematic exploration and sustainable management of national maritime resources. Thus, the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation prioritizes gaining an increased knowledge of the marine environment, ensuring the sustainable use of its resources and implementing technological innovations for the development of ocean industries. Given the important role that the sea plays for our country, in 2014, the Argentine government launched the Pampa Azul initiative, currently in place. This is an interministerial initiative that coordinates scientific research, technological development, and innovation actions to scientifically inform national ocean policies and includes strengthening national sovereignty over our marine territory, conservation and sustainable use of marine goods and services. In addition, it coordinates actions and processes related to marine spatial planning. By making progress in research and technological development, the Pampa Azul initiative makes its contribution to sustainable development and security in a way that is socially and environmentally just, with social inclusion and a gender perspective. It also seeks to increasingly raise social awareness of the services and benefits provided by the sea with a specific scientific communication and dissemination agenda. Midterm goals include strengthening the capacities of the science and technology system to contribute to public sea-related policies such as infrastructure, fleet, instruments, and human capabilities, among others. Strengthening institutional capacities with a federal perspective and advancing an agenda of strategic topics such as biodiversity, conservation, and marine spatial planning, climate change and climate variability, environmental risk management, geological and geophysical prospecting, fisheries, research and human activities, and coastal marine environment, and also technological development areas including shipbuilding industry, sensing and measurement instruments, fishing industry, and aquaculture, energy and mining, and tourism. We are committed to highlighting the fundamental value of the Atlantic Ocean in supporting the health and well-being of our peoples, as stated in the declaration we have just signed. Against this backdrop, strengthening our national capacities in collaboration with international strategic partners will be key to reach our goals. We have already been working in ocean and marine research on a bilateral basis with several of the partners with whom today we have signed this declaration. By signing this declaration, Argentina is joining the multilateral efforts that have been ongoing for several years and that have built the foundations of a fruitful collaboration among us, the results of which are reflected in the various previous declarations. A new declaration will further support the sustainable development of the Atlantic Ocean by establishing a long-term Atlantic Ocean Research and Innovation Alliance that we expect will continue over time under the motto Connecting, Cooperating, and Acting, and will allow us to share knowledge infrastructure and capacity by promoting innovative and transformative outcome-oriented science. We believe that this declaration is aligned with our national goals for ocean research and will undoubtedly strengthen our capabilities and allow us to share the important Argentine research and innovation capabilities in this field with other partners. As this declaration shows us, the Atlantic Ocean plays a key role in human health and well-being. Our joint work in ocean matters will allow us to benefit from the solutions provided by science, technology, and innovation to face current and future challenges, and thus build a society that is more just, more inclusive, more resilient, and more sustainable. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Argentina. Next, if I could ask the official from Brazil to come forward.
So, dear ministers and high-level representatives from the European Union, South Africa, Canada, United States, Cape Verde, Morocco, Argentina, Colombia, Dominican Republic, Ghana, Norway, and United Kingdom. It is with a great pleasure that we participate in this ministerial session of All Atlantic Ocean Research Forum here in the United States, our co-hosts. Today, we signed the All Atlantic Declaration, which establishes a long-term, open dialogue, All Atlantic Research and Innovation Alliance, so that knowledge, infrastructure, and capabilities are shared. By encouraging this sharing, it will be possible to promote accessible, transparent, innovative, and transformative ocean science. The transformation of this alliance also involves the inclusion of people and local communities, as well as the broad participation of young people representing the future generation for whom we will leave this legacy. This alliance demonstrated the priorities that we, the senators, share and hope for the sustainable development of the all-Atlantic Ocean, such as increasing our understanding of the relationship between ocean and climate, monitoring, protecting, and restoring marine ecosystem and biodiversity, tackling the impacts of marine pollution, including plastics, developing innovative outcome-oriented science to support sustainable fisheries and aquaculture, coordinating Atlantic Ocean modeling, observing the seabed mapping effort, promoting circular, sustainable, and inclusive ocean economies, and promoting ocean literacy and broadening overall engagement in ocean science and ocean sustainability. These priorities are absolutely aligned with the United Nations Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development 2130. And this framework is very important for us, and which is expected results and pressing challenges, and it is also aligned with our national implementation plan for the Ocean Decade. Dear ministers In order to advance this common scientific effort, we need to promote access to knowledge and data that are interoperable and transparent, improve access to and sharing of ocean science infrastructure and knowledge, and strengthen the involvement of all, both specialists and non-specialists. And I have a challenge that we can probably make a calls for research together, especially a call for young scientists. This is a challenge that we have to do all together. I hope that the following month we can also advance in the discussion of a new mechanism for facilitating governance, communication and implementation of oceanic cooperation that we formalized today. We are just in the beginning of a long and complex process, since the ocean science agenda covers all fields of knowledge. Science, as you all know, is a human endeavor that needs to be leveraged through international cooperation. This is more evident when we talk about natural resource and global challenges that do not recognize geographical and geopolitical borders, and whose solution depends on concerted and common actions. I'm glad to see we are all united, and I'm confident that this alliance is the right direction to follow. Let's continue connecting, cooperating, and acting in our international partnership to align effort and co-create a shared vision to enhance scientific cooperation that promotes result-oriented ocean science and innovation for a safe, healthy, and sustainable Atlantic Ocean for future generations. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Brazil. Next, if I could have the representative from Cabo Verde please come forward.
Thank you. Excellencies, dear guests, organizers. Cabo Verde is a small island, 10 islands, with a small terrestrial surface, but with a great maritime zone. We expect that our maritime surface can correspond to the Texas surface. And so the first question that we have to answer, what to do with our maritime zone? What strategy? What plans? What actions? And over the time, Cabo Verde have seen this great surface and the links with the Atlantic as a great opportunities. Excellency, the Undersecretary of State, when you talk about Rhode Island, we have thousands of Cabo Verdeans there, resulting of this link and partnership with other nations in the Atlantic. With the strategic position, you got some added value that we want to exploit. And so we have created a special economic maritime zone as to have a maritime hub, and in the central point of this maritime zone, we have the knowledge and innovation. Knowledge with a specific university, specialized university, with specialized schools for maritime teaching and research. We get some cooperation with our neighbors, but we are open to all nations specific in this Atlantic zone as we can achieve our goals of development based on sustainable activity. But you know that we have also some threat, like climate change, that you know that the island, specifically the insular regions, will be more affected with the impact of that climate change. But you have also the pollution. And you see that when the countries don't have many forces to protect our maritime zone, sometimes we get some problems with pollution activities. And so we have two challenges. One, to see how to get results from the climate change, get results from the pollution in our combat to that activities. But to have the challenge to improve our potentials in terms of development, sustainable development for our peoples, in economic growth, in employment, in social inclusion. And so for us, it is an honor to sign this declaration, where specific you have the partnership, you have the collaboration, we have chosen the scientific research, the knowledge as a great opportunity for our synergy as a nation. We are ready to do it, and the Atlantic nations can account with Cabo Verde. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Cabo Verde. Next, if I could call forward the official from Canada.
Partners and friends and delegates, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, no matter where you are. My name is Mike Calloway, and I'm Canada's Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Fisheries, Oceans, and the Coast Guard. It's a real pleasure to be here for the All-Atlantic Ocean Research and Innovation Alliance Forum, and I'd like to thank our hosts, Brazil and the United States of America, for bringing us together this week. I'd also like to note the youth ambassadors, youth advocates, leaders. Thank you for your commitment and your passion and your skill and your leadership. I'm from Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, on Canada's East Coast, which makes it a real honor to sign this declaration today on behalf of the Government of Canada. Where I'm from, we are all connected to the ocean, whether that is for work, play, or both. We know how important it is to our economy, our environment, and they are both affected by the same challenges that we face. This is why Canada has a proud history of working with the Atlantic Ocean community on a wide variety of marine issues. Quite frankly, folks, when the ocean does well, we do well. We look forward to furthering our contribution to ocean science by enhancing our existing partnerships and creating new ones with our Atlantic partners. Canada is proud, very proud, to be a leader in marine conservation and biodiversity. We are fighting illegal, unregulated, unreported fishing, tackling marine plastics, improving our understanding of the relationship between climate change and the state of the oceans, and building a more sustainable ocean economy. Canada is committed to advancing progress under the UN Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development. As a proud member of the Ocean Decade Alliance, we aim to work cooperatively with our international partners to advance innovation, transformative science that will support a healthy and sustainable ocean. We will leverage our efforts under the All-Atlantic Ocean Research and Innovation Alliance to move ahead with shared objectives under the Ocean Decade. It is really important, and I think we've heard it today, to look beyond our borders, to share information, data, research opportunities, and outcomes. We need to seek opportunities to learn from one another and to share best practices. And we can't manage what we don't measure. And alliances like this give us those tools to do that. In close cooperation with our All-Atlantic partners, I'm extremely confident, our minister is extremely confident, that the declaration we signed just moments ago will help us to achieve all these things. Thank you so much, and I look forward to the next 2 days.
Thank you. Next, we will be receiving a video message from the European Commission. If we could please bring that up on the screen.
Dear ministers, dear Atlantic friends and partners, I would like to thank all of you, and in particular the United States and Brazil, for co-hosting this year's forum. Today, we achieve an important milestone. We are renewing our commitment for a healthy Atlantic Ocean from pole to pole with 7 Atlantic partner countries, an enlarged community that I'm sure will grow in the next years. Our nations are building a unique ocean science diplomacy alliance to join forces and solve together the most pressing challenges that the Atlantic is facing. These include climate change, biodiversity loss, and ecosystem protection for the benefit of all communities. We started this journey almost 10 years ago, signing the Galway Statement with Canada and the United States, followed by the Belém Statement with Brazil and South Africa. And we have been moving forward since then. On our side, the European Union has recently launched, in the context of Horizon Europe program, the mission Restore Our Ocean and Waters. It offers new international cooperation opportunities for research and innovation. Its Atlantic Arctic Lighthouse activities can make strong links with the follow-up actions stemming from the declaration signed today. Since we are celebrating 2022 as the European Year of Youth, I would also like to take the occasion to praise our All-Atlantic Ocean youth ambassadors. Youth and early career professionals are our future. We must listen and equip them to become the ocean leaders of tomorrow. I would like to conclude by thanking the dedication of all those who have worked to mark with this declaration and conference the beginning of this new chapter of the All-Atlantic Ocean Research and Innovation Alliance. I reiterate my strong personal commitment, and I would like to thank our European Ambassador, Stavros Lambrinidis, for representing me, signing on behalf of the European Union the new All-Atlantic Ocean Research Alliance Declaration. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Next, I would like to invite forward the representative from Morocco. Morocco, please.
Good morning, dear guests. My name is Sana Zepa, and I am Director of Cooperation and Partnership within the Moroccan Ministry of Higher Education, Scientific Research and Innovation. It's an honor for me today to take part to this strategic event and represent Morocco on behalf of my minister, Professor Mirawi, who apologized for not being able to attend with us today. Allow me first to thank all the organizers and our host for offering us the possibility to organize this event in such mythical place. Thank you. Morocco is extremely enthusiastic about joining this alliance, which represent the outcome of a process based on scientific diplomacy that involved countries from across the Atlantic Ocean. Considering its geographical and strategic position, the Kingdom of Morocco coastline is renowned as the longest coastline in African country with 3,500 kilometers. The country is bordered to the west by the Atlantic Ocean, around 3,000 kilometers, and the north by the Mediterranean Sea. Hence, the Kingdom of Morocco is a committed partner in furthering research and innovation in science, in ocean science, and Morocco stands ready to collaborate with all partners to deepen our understanding of marine ecosystems and the link between the Atlantic Ocean and climate change. Morocco has skilled and structured dedicated to oceanographic research, both at the level of universities and more specialized centers, such as the National Institute of Fisheries Research. Morocco is also very much aware of the necessity of sustainable ocean management and has therefore adopted several sectoral strategies, including the blue economy, such as our National Strategy for Sustainable Development and the Haliotis Plan. The declaration we have just signed today offers a unique framework that links together diverse communities across the Atlantic to promote collaboration in research and innovation. The objective of this declaration is to protect and restore marine ecosystem and biodiversity, and thereby enhance their resilience and adaptive capacity to climate change and other natural and human-introduced stress factors. Through this declaration, the Kingdom of Morocco intends to intensify its effort to address the challenge of managing waste and pollution, which is damaging the health of people, oceans, and seas, and threatening food security and biodiversity. Morocco recognizes the importance of developing appropriate models and incentives to stimulate research-based development. We also encourage the creation of a global platform for the generation and sharing of ocean data to address common challenges and strengthen regional and national capacities. I would like to recall that Morocco and the European Union signed an administrative arrangement on December 2020, aiming at cooperation on marine research and innovation in the framework of the Atlantic Ocean Research Alliance. It is intended to give a new impetus to cooperation between the two parties in the marine field and to promote the role of Morocco as a regional and pole of excellence in the field of climate change, biodiversity, and food security. Furthermore, Morocco took part in the United Nations Conference of the Ocean, which took place last July in Portugal. It was in July in Portugal. This is yet another sign of our commitment to the implementation of innovative solutions based on science, technology, and innovation. I would like to thank again all the partners for this initiative. We have common goals and challenges to face together. And finally, I would like to say a few words about our ambassadors. I was particularly touched and emotionally touched by your commitment. As you said, as you mentioned through your logo, the logo that you adopted, we have to work together to connect people and to empower the new generation for new ocean perspective and future. So thank you for your commitments. Thank you for your attention, dear colleagues, and we are really excited to work together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, I'd like to invite forward the official from South Africa to give remarks.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to the online viewers. I extend my thanks to the partners, to the youth ambassadors, to the scientists, to the ministers for this event. I bring you greetings and warm wishes from our Minister, Dr. Bonkersi Emmanuel Nzimande, who was not able to make it, but express his full commitment to this partnership. I also want to thank the US and Brazil governments for hosting this very important event that launches us into a new era. South Africa is located at the confluence of three major but poorly understood ocean systems and the Antarctic. And this confluence is increasingly believed to have a major impact on global weather patterns. Consequently, South Africa enjoys a considerable geographic advantage with respect to oceans, Antarctic, and climate change research. For many years, extensive national research effort has been invested in this domain across various programs, government departments, and public science institutions, and significant investments made in a range of research infrastructures, including research vessels and an Antarctic base. This includes our most recent addition to our infrastructures, the South African Polar Research Infrastructure. To maximize socioeconomic benefits in support of South Africa's development objectives, in particular to address the triple challenge of poverty, inequality, and unemployment, separate research strategies for marine and Antarctic domains were consolidated into a combined strategy in 2016. 6 key objectives underpin the strategy. Firstly, the provision of a well-coordinated governance system for marine and Antarctic research activities. Secondly, ensure the sustainability of marine and Antarctic resources. Thirdly, develop high-level skills to support research and development in marine and Antarctic domains, including a strong focus on emerging and young researchers. Fourthly, improve the quality of life for South Africans derived from the ocean's economy. Fifthly, create a society informed on the value of marine and Antarctic research initiatives. And finally, contribute towards the creation of employment derived from innovation in the marine and Antarctic environments. We identified 5 thematic areas for research. These include oceans and marine ecosystems under global change, Earth systems observations, ecosystems biodiversity and biodiscovery, innovation and development, and the human enterprise. Our national efforts were given a considerable boost with our signing of the Bellum Statement in 2017, and through this program, we have facilitated our participation in 10 collaborative Atlantic Ocean initiatives under this program. In support of global efforts, we continue to provide access to our research infrastructure. Following the relaxation of the COVID-19 restrictions, we hosted the European Commission Horizon 2020 funded SOCHIC project in December 2021 on the South African's state-of-the-art research vessel, the South African Agulhas II. In April this year, the French vessel Tara docked in Cape Town to continue work on another Horizon 2020 project, where South African lead scientists took over as chief scientists to explore the South Atlantic Ocean on the African side up to the Democratic Republic of Congo. At the same time, South Africa hosted an all-Atlantic Ocean International Summer School at the University of Pretoria. The signing of today's declaration represents a transformative and critical milestone in support of high levels of collaboration by key research and innovation countries within the Atlantic Ocean. We look forward to enhanced bilateral and multilateral cooperation with all current and future signatories. I thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like now to call forward the representative from the United States to give their intervention.
Good morning. I was going to start with how pleased I am to be in the company of so many esteemed colleagues, and I am, but I think I would take a moment and pause and say, how amazing are the youth ambassadors? Can we just get another round of applause for them? Really. I think our future is in a very good place with you at the helm. So my remarks, we are gathered here, hosted by this institution dedicated to the pursuit of scientific knowledge because we share a common goal. We want to advance science for the benefit of our countries, our peoples, and the world. A mantra of the Biden administration is, science is back. President Biden has made it clear that science and technology will play a central role in addressing our most pressing challenges and providing the most promising opportunities. The United States' active participation in the All-Atlantic Ocean Research and Innovation Alliance underscores our commitment to science as well as the conservation of the ocean. To paraphrase the language from the declaration signed today, we all recognize the importance of the Atlantic Ocean in supporting human health. We recognize the critical natural resources it provides. And we recognize the important role it plays in regulating climate. That said, the Atlantic Ocean, like the rest of the global ocean, is beset by challenges. Saying we're at an inflection point doesn't quite hit the mark. What we are facing is a constellation of inflection points. We need to make the right choices and decisions now. We need to act now. And this includes on issues such as climate, protecting vulnerable ecosystems, ensuring the ocean does not continue to be a repository for plastic and other kinds of pollution, and on how to use the resources the ocean holds in a way that not only benefits humanity now, but also leaves the same benefits for the future generations. Yet, making the right decisions can only happen when they are based on science and evidence. President Biden has made it a policy of his administration to make evidence-based decisions guided by the best available science and data. The U.S. prioritization of science requires scientific cooperation with our allies and partners. The challenges facing the ocean are cross-border and far-reaching. Our cooperation must follow that same model. The declaration we joined each other in signing today is an important step in ensuring our cooperation matches the scientific challenges that are facing us. Together, the Balaam and Galway participants are supporting the emergence of a more complete scientific community for the Atlantic. Now, we must work together to ensure the All-Atlantic Research and Innovation Alliance continues to develop and grow, including by adding more countries. We understand and value the contributions of scientific partners throughout the Atlantic Basin and the commitment many Atlantic nations have made to supporting a healthy Atlantic Ocean. The United States is committed to working toward an inclusive, open process to expand the number of Atlantic nations that can formally join the alliance as soon as possible. And we look forward to working with the declaration signatories here today to identify paths towards this goal. And we welcome all stakeholders from the Atlantic nations to participate in our activities from today forward, regardless of whether you are from a government, an academic institution, a private company, or an NGO. We want you to engage. Open, transparent, and cross-sector collaboration will be key to our collective success. So with that, I'd like to thank you for your commitment to the ocean and to ensuring that when policymakers in capitals around the Atlantic make important decisions, they will do so with scientifically sound and evidence-based data to guide their deliberations. We look forward to the innovative, transformative, and outcome-oriented science this declaration will foster for the benefit of us all. Thank you.
Thank you very much to all of our officials. We are now going to be taking a short break. However, I remind you, we're going to come back for more interventions from partner countries, so please make sure that you return back here. Our break will end at 11:30, so stretch, great, and then come back for more excitement. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
At last moment, I'm sorry. No, truly. You did great. Thank you very much.
No,
Because
very
I found
impressed.
that everyone is talking in English, and it's a little bit, where is my mic, where is my sets, etc.
Lifesaver.
It's
Do
better
they
to
have
do
the
it
certification
in English.
memos? Oh, you are perfect. And yeah, I didn't get a chance to go to the other table yet, but if you want to grab the pens. I will. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Please begin to gather and take your seats. For those senior officials who will be giving interventions, please make sure to make your way to the front for your assigned seat. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Please take your seats. Thank you. As we've noted several times this morning, this is truly an all-Atlantic alliance. And so in that spirit, we are continuing our interventions with additional partners who are going to share their research goals and contributions, potential contributions to the All-Atlantic Ocean Research and Innovation Alliance. First, we are going to be joined on the screen with a virtual representative from Colombia. Minister Christian, you may start. We will give a moment. Perhaps we can let them know it's his time. These are the joys of the hybrid world we are now in. We all have to show flexibility and understanding in these situations. While we wait, I'll give a friendly reminder that yes, we are streaming online, and we encourage everyone in the audience who participates on social media to share information about the event and pictures and tweet. We have a All-Atlantic Ocean Research and Innovation Alliance website, which you can access via the QR code that is on your badge and on the tables outside. So please help us share the news of this great event. All right, we'll just give it one more moment. Hold on just one moment, Minister. We cannot hear you. Not sure if they can hear us. Monica, we are muted on our end, so I don't think the minister can hear that we cannot hear. We cannot hear. Again, the joys and challenges. Excuse me, Minister, can you hear us? Yeah, we're still muted. Okay, if you can unmute us. Excuse me, Minister, can you hear us? No. Okay. It would not have been a true hybrid event in this day and age without at least one technical issue, so. All right. Well, while we try to resolve that, and our team will work with the Colombian minister's team, I'm going to now turn to the representative from the Dominican Republic to please come and give remarks. Sir, please come forward.
Muchas gracias. Distinguidos participantes del primer foro de investigación del Océano Atlántico 2022, presentado por Brasil y Estados Unidos de América. El presente encuentro internacional cobra importancia inusual porque se trata del lanzamiento de la primera declaración de la Alianza para la Investigación e Innovación de todo el Océano Atlántico. Al concluir dicho foro, se procederá a la firma de una declaración donde se describirá la visión de All Atlantic Ocean Research Alliance como una red de toda la cuenca en apoyo de la investigación y la innovación oceánicas. Como esta red tiene objetivo ser una comunidad abierta y participativa queremos decirles que la República Dominicana felicita esta actividad por la sencilla razón de que somos una nación llamada a vivir de cara al mar. Es tanto así que hace más de un año llegó a Puerto Dominicano por un periodo de 2 semanas la embarcación de investigación Ocean Explorer, con el propósito de realizar una expedición internacional en la que incorporaron a la República Dominicana. Esta embarcación fue liderada por la organización internacional sin fines de lucro Ocean Care, dedicada a investigar diversos aspectos del mar en los campos de la oceanografía física, química, geológica y biológica. En esa expedición que se realizó en marzo del 2021, participaron los biólogos del Ministerio de Medio Ambiente Dominicano y la Autoridad Nacional de Asuntos Marinos, integrada por los científicos Isabela Hernández, Omar Shamir Reynoso y María José Fernández. Como se puede apreciar, esa expedición científica entra en el marco de la colaboración regional para estudiar y comprender los océanos de manera sostenible, los recursos que estos ofrecen a nuestros pueblos. Además, esta investigación tenía el propósito de estudiar el mar en su profundidad, hasta llegar a una aproximación de unos 1000 metros, y sobre los resultados se elaboraron varios artículos para su publicación en revistas científicas. Esta práctica de investigación de cara al mar que realizó dicha organización internacional entra en el enfoque que tiene este primer foro de investigación del Océano Atlántico 2022, presentado por Brasil y los Estados Unidos de Norteamérica. El presente foro concluirá con la firma de una declaración para fortalecer la cooperación e impulsar los proyectos concernientes al grupo de trabajo Goldway y a las acciones piloto conjuntas de cooperación de todo el Atlántico. En este contexto, el Ministerio de Educación Superior, Ciencia y Tecnología de la República Dominicana, y que me honro en presidir, ha financiado diferentes proyectos de investigación cuyo tópico principal es la salud del mar y los cambios en la biodiversidad del mar Caribe y el Océano Atlántico. Estas investigaciones han priorizado los estudios de los manglares, la pesca artesanal, el problema de los sargazos, su impacto en la biodiversidad marina y sobre las costas, con especial atención el daño que pueda ocasionar sobre el turismo y en la salud de los corales y de las hierbas marinas, como la hierba de tortuga y otras especies. En el caso de los sargazos, se busca aprovechar su arribo a las costas del país en la producción de suplementos alimenticios para el ganado y en la fabricación de biocombustibles. En la República Dominicana se ha aprovechado lo relativo a la temperatura del mar para la climatización de áreas turísticas y para el uso de la energía mareomotriz. Como se puede apreciar, todo esto va acorde con la temática de este primer foro de investigación oceánica, el cual, por su carácter internacional, sirve para que indaguemos más sobre el mar y así poder lograr un uso racional y sostenible de sus recursos mediante alianzas estratégicas, académicas y científicas en beneficio de la población mundial. Este encuentro internacional Atlántico 2022 marcará el inicio de un mayor esfuerzo de todos nuestros pueblos para el logro de esos elevados propósitos. Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fermin. Next, I believe that our representative from Ghana has been slightly delayed, but I just wanted to see if they've arrived in this time. If not, we will continue to move forward. All right, with that, I would like to invite forward the representative from Norway to give the intervention on behalf of Norway. Thank you.
Excellencies, ladies, gentlemen, dear friend, good morning. My name is Anniken Krutnes, and I am Norway's ambassador to the United States. Representing an Atlantic nation with a coastline second only to Canada in length, Norway has a direct responsibility for a substantial part of the Northeast Atlantic Ocean. And we would like to give a heartfelt thanks to the European Commission, Canada, USA, Brazil, South Africa, and all other nations involved in the All-Atlantic Ocean Research Alliance. And I also like to mention Portugal and Ireland. We're thankful for your tireless work to spread awareness of the Atlantic Ocean's importance. The ocean connects the Atlantic countries in many ways. And I'd like to mention that we have renovated our embassy here in Washington, D.C., and we have a new event space, and we call it the Atlantic Ocean. That's how close our identity is related to this ocean. We share with all of you a history of reliance on the sea. We all have a commitment to maintaining healthy and productive oceans. And we are also brought together by our common understanding that this ocean is under stress. I would also like to mention that several of the nations present here today are members of the high-level panel for a sustainable ocean economy. And that panel has committed to sustainably managing 100% of the oceans under their national jurisdiction by 2025. This will go a long way toward making the Atlantic healthier. Of course, research and knowledge are key parts of delivering the policies that ensure sustainable and productive oceans. Norwegian agencies are already participating in various projects under All-Atlantic. For instance, Norwegian research institutes Nofima and Norse are both coordinating ambitious Atlantic projects that will increase our common likelihood to succeed with lower trophic aquaculture. Regardless of how Norway connects to All-Atlantic, our institutions and agencies will continue to participate in projects. But a full Norwegian participation would open up possibilities for deeper and wider engagement. Norway supports, and we are ready to sign the declaration to renew and consolidate the cooperation agreement. We see it important that the alliance is available for all Atlantic nations. Norway invests heavily in Atlantic-related ocean research. Many of you are already aware and involved in that. It is mostly done through our national programs and institutions, but also through bilateral cooperation and international programs and mechanisms, such as ICES and OSPAR. I would also like to highlight our polar research, where we are leading, I would say, both in the Arctic and the Antarctic. So it says here, this is my sales pitch, what we can offer: dedicated personnel, alignment, our national and our bilateral ocean research, and our mapping instruments with the All-Atlantic Ocean Research Agenda. And, not least, information sharing and synergy with Norwegian development funding and capacity building mechanisms operating in the Atlantic. So we would like to sign the declaration Thank you.
Thank you so much, Norway. Next, I would like to invite forward a representative from Portugal to give remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm very pleased to be here this morning. Portugal is fully committed to the All-Atlantic Ocean Research and Innovation Alliance, as well as with the need for co-responsibility, co-design, and co-implementation among all Atlantic countries. It is essential, in our view, to align existing funding instruments and initiatives. In this context, the EU mission to restore our ocean and waters by 2030 is a valuable instrument through the coordination and supporting action called Lighthouse, dedicated to the Atlantic Basin, and the Arctic, coordinated by the Air Center. We need to deepen the coordination of Atlantic activities in ocean observation, including sensors and equipment, find science-based solutions for a sustainable multi-use of the ocean, and contribute to a sustainable blue economy, making use of existing institutions and sharing data and infrastructures. We need more ocean literacy activities and early career for scientists and early career capacity for scientists. Portugal fully supports the declaration signed today and stands ready to be fully involved in its productive implementation. This alliance is a new framework for international cooperation at the basin scale, and therefore, it is also a possible model for the implementation of the UN Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development. Portugal was very pleased to co-host with Kenya the second UN Ocean Conference, where some of you participated. We are also honored to be part of the high-level panel just referred by the Ambassador of Norway, led precisely by Norway and Palau. And we were also very happy to have co-organized yesterday the side event on the South Pole and the North Pole research. I am persuaded, dear colleagues, that this alliance will be instrumental to achieve not only SDG 14, but also other SDGs, as they are all, as we know, interconnected. Not least SDG 17 as a solid example of a fruitful partnership. Let me end by again referring to SDG 14. As most of you know, we are already lagging behind on fulfilling the targets of SDG 14. So we need to do more, and we need to act faster. So we really need to boost our outreach, especially through our youth ambassadors. We are lagging behind in four targets of SDG 14. So we need to quicker and more effectively say no to single-use plastic anytime we can. We need to push for more and more effectively monitored marine protected areas. And we need to ask for further constraints on illegal and unregulated fisheries. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. Next, I'd like to call forward a representative from the United Kingdom to give remarks. Thank you.
Distinguished guests, Your Excellencies, friends and colleagues here today. Firstly, on behalf of the United Kingdom, I'd like to congratulate the signatories to the declaration today. This alliance represents an extremely exciting community of countries who, despite being geographically separated, share the common commitment and responsibility for the Atlantic Ocean. The alliance's work in bringing together these international partners And utilizing innovative science is vital to a further understanding and protecting of our oceans. This work is particularly poignant as globally we work towards the United Nations Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, developing the science we need for the oceans we want. The UK firmly believes in the ability of science to help achieve global change for the common good through multilateral solutions to the key global challenges. And that was a key factor in our own presidency of COP26 last November. This is why the work of this alliance and the vision that this declaration sets out resonates so well with the priorities for the United Kingdom. The UK's substantial ocean science capability means that we have been and will continue to be extremely active in ocean observing and maritime scientific research throughout the entire Atlantic Ocean and including the polar regions. Indeed, we continue to work with many of the partners here today on key Atlantic research programs, such as the overturning in the subpolar North Atlantic Program Array and the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation Observation Array. Such projects will help to further our understanding of the Atlantic Ocean, particularly the subpolar North, which is important for the decadal climate prediction models. We understand the Alliance is open to any willing partners who share the common vision, values, and goals. And as such, we stand ready and willing as the United Kingdom to join you as a signatory in this alliance at the earliest possible opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Going to do one last check to see if we've been able to resolve our Zoom issues. I believe we have not. All right. Well, in the absence of that, we will hope to receive some written remarks from Colombia that we can share with this gathering to help guide our work moving forward, and the same with our colleagues from Ghana who are unfortunately unable to make it in time for the intervention today. With that, I would like to close the plenary for this day one, and move to our lunch. But before I do so, a few logistical reminders. You have a headset. You need to turn it in. It needs to charge overnight, plus it's tied to you as a person. So if that is the one that is missing, we have to hunt you down and find you, and we don't want to do that. So please make sure to turn them in so that we can appropriately account for them. Second, the majority of you will be eating lunch in the Great Hall where we've had our coffee and networking, and I hope you enjoy it. And for those ministers and other senior officials who will be attending the minister's lunch, please gather over here and we'll direct you to that lunch space afterwards. I'm going to turn to my team very quickly in the back to see if I've missed any logistics. All right. If not, I really look forward to seeing everyone tomorrow to build on the strong work of today and the declaration, and look forward to more discussions to come. Thank you.